What if Christopher Columbus had been a Roman explorer sailing under the banner of Imperator Augustus Vi? What if, instead of Spain or Britain, it was the Roman Empire that crossed the Atlantic and established colonies in the New World? Imagine an America shaped not by European colonial powers, but by the traditions, language, and military might of Rome. Would there be a United States of Nova Roma? Would Latin be the official language from Nova Hispania to Terra Britannica? And how would Roman colonization have changed warfare, politics, and culture on this continent? Let us explore one of the most fascinating what-ifs in history. Could the Romans have even reached the Americas? We know from historical records and archaeological findings that the Romans sailed as far as West Africa and may have had in direct contact with India and China. Their ships were sturdy, their navigation skills advanced, and their thirst for expansion unmatched. In our alternate timeline, imagine a Roman expedition departing from the port of Carthago Nova around the year 300 after Christ. Using knowledge of ocean currents and celestial navigation, they sail west, discovering lands far beyond the Pillars of Hercules. By the year 400, the Roman Senate declares the discovery of Terra Occidentalis, a new province rich in resources, fertile land, and indigenous civilizations. So the biting question is, if Rome had discovered and colonized the Americas, what would modern America look like today? If Rome had reached the Americas, we'd be living in a world where Latin is the dominant language, where imperial law governs millions, and where the legacy of ancient Rome shapes every aspect of life. From architecture to governance, how deeply would Roman values shape society in the New World? First, language in this timeline. Latin would be the dominant tongue across the continent. There might still be regional dialects, but Spanish, English, and French would never have taken root. Instead, you'd hear people speaking a form of vulgar Latin from Mexico City to Nova Roma, Washington, D.C. Law and governance would follow the Roman model, a mix of imperial authority and provincial self-rule. The legal system would be based on the corpus juris civilis, shaping everything from property rights to criminal justice. Culturally, the influence of Roman religion, whether traditional polytheism or later Christianity, would shape spiritual life. Temples to Jupiter or basilicas dedicated to St. Peter might dot every major city. But perhaps most importantly, the infrastructure would mirror that of ancient Rome. Think aqueducts stretching across the Mississippi Valley, paved Roman roads connecting Nova Hispania to Terra Mexicana, and massive amphitheaters hosting gladiatorial games and theatrical performances. Modern America would not be a melting pot of European cultures, but a continuation of Roman civilization, unified by language, law, and tradition, with cities built in the image of ancient Rome and daily life governed by Roman customs and civic values. Now let us talk about the army, because no Roman colony could survive without it. At its height, the Roman Empire maintained approximately 450,000 soldiers across its provinces. These troops were highly disciplined, well-trained, and supported by an efficient supply chain. Compare that to early European colonizers like the Spanish conquistadors, who often numbered only hundreds but managed to conquer entire empires due to superior weapons and horses. In our alternate timeline, Roman legions numbering tens of thousands arrive in Terra Occidentalis. They bring with them siege engines, ballistae, and the famed testudo formation. They also adapt quickly to local conditions, building forts, recruiting native auxiliaries, and integrating local warriors into their ranks. The indigenous civilizations, similar to the Maya, Aztec, or Mississippian cultures, face a disciplined, organized force unlike anything they've seen before. Roman generals would likely use diplomacy alongside war, forming alliances with some tribes while crushing rebellions with ruthless efficiency. In short, the conquest of the New World by Rome would not be quick, but it would be thorough, much like their campaigns in Gaul or Dacia. The Roman army would dominate through discipline, logistics, and engineering superiority. While indigenous forces would fight bravely, they would ultimately face a military machine honed over centuries, leading to a long but inevitable Roman victory. What would a Roman city in the Americas have looked like? Cities would resemble miniature Romes, with forums, temples, betheses, and circuses. Slavery would still exist, but perhaps on a smaller scale than in antiquity, especially if Rome integrates native populations as citizens over time. Instead of tobacco, cotton, and sugar plantations, we might see large latifundia estates growing olives, grapes, and grain, all staples of the Roman diet. Education would be widespread, at least among the elite, with schools teaching Latin grammar, philosophy, and engineering. Engineering would be a prized skill, given the need to build roads, bridges, and aqueducts in a vast and diverse land. Public spaces like baths, theaters, and stadiums would dominate urban life. Every city would have its own Senate House, Temple District, and Central Forum, just like in the old provinces of Hispania or Syria. Modern American cities would be grand, structured, and filled with marble, designed for function and spectacle. Streets would be wide and paved, water systems advanced, and public buildings monumental, a fusion of Roman ambition and American geography. Finally, what would a Roman-controlled America look like in the 21st century? It would likely be a powerful, centralized province, or possibly a federation of provinces, governed from a capital like Nova Roma, Washington, D.C., or Nova Carthago, New York. The emperor would reside in Constantinopolis, but a regional governor, perhaps styled as a proconsul, would manage day-to-day affairs. Politically, it would be a blend of autocracy and tradition, with the Senate playing a limited advisory role and the emperor holding ultimate power. However, citizenship would be widespread, granting rights and privileges to millions across the continent. Militarily, Roman legions stationed in the Americas would serve both as defenders and peacekeepers, maintaining order, guarding borders, and ensuring loyalty to the empire. Technologically, Rome would have developed differently without the Dark Ages. Perhaps steam-powered machines would have appeared earlier, leading to an industrial revolution centuries ahead of schedule. And culturally, Roman values, honor, discipline, civic duty would still dominate public life. Public service would be revered, and the idea of dignitas, personal prestige earned through virtue, would remain central to identity. Modern America would be a land where Latin echoes through marble halls, where Roman law governs millions, and where legions patrol the frontier in armor rather than blue uniforms. There would be no 13 colonies, no revolution, no United States of America as we know it. Instead, you'd find a sprawling Roman province, or even a semi-autonomous empire, built on the foundations of ancient tradition, yet evolved from modern times. This America would value unity over individualism, structure over freedom, and stability over change. And above all, it would remind us that history isn't just about what happened, it's about what almost happened, and what still could.